If you feel that, that knot of nervousness in your stomach when you think about speaking English, please know this. You are absolutely not alone.
Oh, definitely not. It's incredibly common.
It really is. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. How to get over that fear, how to speak English fluently and, well, confidently.
Right.
We've been digging into Speak English Fluently, which is this great resource all about understanding why this happens and, more importantly, giving you ways to tackle it.
Strategies that actually work.
Exactly. So our mission today is pretty simple. Pull out the most powerful ideas from this source. Basically give you a path to build that confidence, that fluency you're looking for.
And it really is striking how universal that feeling is, isn't it? That hesitation just before you speak. The source really digs into why.
It does. Okay, so let's unpack that.
Yeah.
Why the fear? The source mentions a couple of core things. First, that fear of making mistakes.
Ah, the classic one.
Totally. That worry, like, what if I use the wrong word, or my grammar's going to be a mess, or just sounding foolish.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And what's interesting is the source suggests the anticipation often feels worse than the actual mistake itself.
That makes sense. We build it up in our heads, don't we? Like this huge potential failure, and then the reality is often not that bad.
Right. It's this gap between wanting to be perfect immediately and the reality that learning takes time, involves slip-ups.
Exactly. And that leads to the other fear.
Yeah, the fear of being judged,
Yeah.
worrying about your accent, maybe thinking you'll seem less smart or that people will get impatient. The source talks about how vulnerable that makes you feel. You want to connect, but you're scared of what others might think.
And that taps right into that basic human need for acceptance, for connection. Speaking a new language, it does make you feel vulnerable. So that fear can be a really strong barrier.
But here's something really important. The source stresses these feelings. Completely normal.
Thank goodness.
Seriously. It argues they actually come from a good place. You genuinely want to do well. You want to communicate effectively.
Right, it's because you care.
Exactly. But that pressure we put on ourselves, to be perfect from the start, that can really ramp up the anxiety.
So it's about maybe shifting how we see it. Less like a performance, more like building bridges.
Yes. And there's this great little story in the source, an anecdote from the author learning another language. They went into a shop and accidentally asked for a hat instead of bread.
Oh, no, I can just picture that. Awkward.
Totally awkward. But here's the thing, the shopkeeper just sort of chuckled kindly and handed over the bread anyway.
See, people get it.
Exactly. The big takeaway was mistakes aren't the end of the world. Mostly, people focus on what you're trying to say, the meaning.
It shows how resilient communication is. Even with imperfect words, the intention often gets through. People are usually quite good at figuring it out.
Precisely. So the really empowering idea here is you don't need perfection to communicate effectively.
Not at all.
The main thing is just being willing to try. And honestly, every time you do try, that fear gets a little bit weaker.
That willingness, that's the first big step, isn't it? Shifting from avoiding errors to actually using the language to connect.
Okay, so building on that, the source gives us 5 pretty straightforward tips to help speak English fearlessly. Tip number 1, start small.
Makes sense. Don't jump into the deep end immediately.
Right. It's not about complex debates right away. Focus on easy stuff, manageable bits, like just saying hello or thank you, good morning, the basics.
And doing that, it just gets you comfortable, right? It gets your mouth and brain used to making those English sounds, simple sentences, without loads of pressure.
Totally. The author even mentions practicing how are you with their dog.
A perfect, non-judgmental audience.
Exactly. It's about getting comfortable with the physical act of speaking. And these small wins, they create this positive feedback loop. Makes you feel ready for slightly bigger steps.
That positive reinforcement is so important. Every little success builds momentum, builds that confidence bit by bit.
Okay, tip 2, accept mistakes.
Easier said than done sometimes, but crucial.
Absolutely. The source says we need to reframe them. See them not as enemies, but as valuable teachers.
I like that.
Teachers. They use the analogy of a kid learning to ride a bike. You wobble, you fall.
You definitely fall.
But that's how you learn balance, is feedback.
It's not failure, it's information. Tells you what needs adjusting. Same with language.
And they give that example, a learner saying, I go store yesterday. Okay, the grammar's off.
But you know what they mean.
Exactly. The intention is clear. And crucially, it's a chance to learn the correct past tense. The source really pushes for a self-compassionate attitude. Be kind to yourself.
Yes, that self-compassion is key. Treat yourself like you'd treat a friend learning. Mistakes are just part of the deal.
Tip number 3, speak in low-pressure situations.
Find your safe zone.
Exactly. Find relaxed places, judgment-free zones where you can practice without feeling watched or scrutinized.
Makes a huge difference.
They suggest practicing with a friend who's also learning. You can support each other, understand the struggles.
That shared journey, takes the pressure off. You know you're both in the same boat.
And also, talking to yourself.
Really?
Yeah. In the mirror, narrating what you're doing, maybe having little imaginary chats. No external pressure at all.
I guess that makes sense. Just forming sentences out loud.
And yes, they even mention talking to pets again.
Yeah.
Or even plants. Anything that won't judge your grammar.
Whatever works. The point is creating that safe psychological space to just try things out, right? To experiment without fear. That builds that first layer of confidence.
Okay, number 4. Focus on communication, not perfection.
This is a big one. Shifting the goal.
Totally. Prioritize sharing your ideas, connecting with people. Don't get hung up on perfect grammar right out of the gate.
Because the main goal is getting your message across, right? Being understood.
Exactly, like going into a cafe and saying, I want coffee. Simple.
Yeah.
Maybe not perfect grammar, but it works.
Gets you the coffee.
Right. Or the tourist asking, where bus? You know what they mean? Even if it's not, where is the bus?
The meaning comes through.
The source calls it bridging understanding. Don't let chasing perfection stop you from actually communicating. Clarity first.
And humans are pretty good at figuring out meaning, even with errors. Context helps a lot.
And finally, tip 5. Practice daily with fun activities.
Make it enjoyable, yes.
Learning shouldn't feel like a chore, right? If it's fun, you'll stick with it, and you'll probably worry less.
Absolutely. Motivation is key. If it's drudgery, you'll avoid it.
So suggestions include things like singing along to English songs, maybe easy ones first.
Good for rhythm and sounds.
Watching movies or TV with subtitles. Cartoons are great for simpler language, maybe repeat lines you like.
Mimicking pronunciation, yeah.
Playing language games, apps, online, whatever. The point is, if you're enjoying it, you kind of forget to be scared. You're just engaged.
And you learn better when you're relaxed and have
Yeah.
fun, too. Creates positive associations.
So aim for a little bit of fun practice every day.
Now, the source has this really nice moment of encouragement, too. It directly talks to that feeling of being alone in this struggle.
Yeah, it says something like, maybe you're thinking, oh, I must be the only one.
Which is so easy to feel, isn't it? When you're struggling with something.
But it reminds us that millions feel this way, or have felt this way, including people who are totally fluent now.
That's comforting to know.
Feeling nervous is just a completely normal and natural part of learning, especially speaking. And there's this huge global community of learners out there. You're not isolated.
Knowing you're part of something bigger, that helps normalize it. It's a shared thing.
And then it touches on why it's worth the effort. Making new friends across cultures.
Big one.
Career opportunities opening up.
Definitely.
Easier travel. Just being able to connect more when you're exploring. And it mentions hearing that compliment, wow, your English is really good.
Yes, that's a great feeling. Shows your progress.
So the message is clear. You can do this. Take it one small step at a time. You don't need to be perfect now. Just keep taking those small, consistent actions.
That focus on small steps, consistency, it makes the big goal feel much less daunting, much more achievable.
Now, the source goes even deeper into embracing imperfection. Really gets into the freedom that comes from accepting mistakes.
Letting go of that need to be perfect.
Yeah, it used that analogy again, learning to walk. You stumble, you wobble, you fall.
It's how you learn.
Exactly. Those aren't failures. They're feedback. They teach you balance. Learning English, it's kind of the same.
A really good parallel. Mistakes aren't setbacks, they're learning opportunities. They show you exactly where you need to adjust.
And it tackles that pressure head on, the pressure for perfect grammar and pronunciation from day one. How that can actually stop you from speaking at all.
Like being afraid to paint because you might spill something.
Exactly. And it brings back Aigo's story yesterday. Imperfect, yes, but it communicated, and it created a chance to learn about past tense.
So it's about shifting perspective. Mistakes aren't bad, they're data. Valuable data telling you what to work on.
And it also points out that native speakers, generally they're really understanding. They appreciate the effort.
Absolutely. Most people are focused on connection, not catching tiny errors. They're usually supportive.
So how do you actively accept mistakes? The source suggests reframing them. See them as those data points. Identify what went wrong, figure out the right way, and then move on.
Don't dwell on them.
And maybe seek feedback from people you trust, supportive people. See that feedback not as criticism, but as a gift to help you improve.
That's a great mindset. Actively seeking feedback shows you're committed to growth.
The bottom line is, embracing imperfection lets you speak more freely, which speeds up your progress and builds real confidence. The source says basically, go ahead, make mistakes. They're leading you to fluency.
That's so liberating, isn't it? Takes the pressure right off. Just engage with the language.
Then it circles back thoughtfully to tip 3, creating those safe speaking zones. Really highlighting how much the environment matters for fear levels.
Oh, hugely. The right space can make all the difference between feeling anxious or feeling supported. Finding or making those safe spaces is vital.
It mentions again practicing with a friend who's also learning. That mutual support, knowing it's okay to mess up together. Maybe setting up regular chats focused just on encouragement.
That shared vulnerability is powerful. Less pressure when you know your friend gets it.
And again, talking to yourself, narrating your day, thinking out loud in English, all in that safe space of your own head, no judgment possible.
And pets, plants, the non-judgmental crew.
Haha, yes. Or finding patient language exchange partners online, people who are also learning and looking for supportive practice.
It's all about building that initial comfort in low-stakes ways. Then gradually you feel braver in other situations. Each little success helps.
Next, a deeper look at tip 4, the power of focusing on communication over perfection.
Getting the priorities right.
It points out, hey, even native speakers don't always speak in perfectly grammatical sentences in casual chat.
So true. Real spoken language is often messy, but it works.
The main goal, like we said, is getting your meaning across. If they understand your thoughts, your questions, that's success.
Right.
Doesn't matter if every S was perfect. Remember, wear a bus.
Message received.
It's not saying ignore grammar forever, but especially when you're nervous, focus on getting the core message out first.
Shift the focus from how perfectly you say it to what you want to say.
Exactly. It releases so much pressure, makes you more willing to just speak. The analogy used is language as a bridge. It doesn't need to be an architectural marvel.
Just needs to connect people.
Right. Your willingness to communicate, even imperfectly, builds that bridge.
That's a helpful image. Function over flawless form initially.
And finally, it revisits the fun factor tip 5. Connecting enjoyment directly to motivation and forgetting the fear.
Because when you're having fun, you're not thinking about being judged. You're just doing the thing.
Exactly. So sing those English songs.
Yeah.
Watch movies with subtitles. Maybe start with your language, then switch to English. Try cartoons. Repeat lines you hear.
Play games, language learning apps, or even board games.
Even little things like labeling stuff in your house or narrating what you're doing while cooking, but in English. Make it playful.
Find what you genuinely enjoy and weave English into it. Don't make it feel like homework.
Because positive feelings help your brain learn better and they push out the anxiety. Just aim for a little fun practice daily. 15-20 minutes can really add up.
Consistency and enjoyment, that's a powerful combination for progress.
And the source wraps up with this final, strong confidence boost, really saying, we believe you can do this. You can speak English fluently without fear.
Right.
It acknowledges, look, overcoming fear is a process. You'll hesitate sometimes. That's normal.
It's not linear.
Right.
Yeah.
Just keep practicing and remember how far you've come already. Embrace the journey. Celebrate the small wins. Be kind to yourself about mistakes.
Every attempt is brave.
Absolutely. Every time you try, that's courage. So the final message is basically, take a deep breath, believe in yourself, and know you're not alone.
A really supportive way to finish. Great advice.
So just to quickly pull it all together, that fear of speaking often comes from worrying about mistakes and judgment.
Yep, the big 2.
But drawing on Speak English Fluently, we've got these 5 practical tips. Start small. Accept mistakes as teachers, find low-pressure places to practice, focus on communication first, not perfection.
And make it fun. Find ways to enjoy the process daily.
Exactly. The core idea is consistent small steps lead to big progress.
And changing how you think about mistakes, focusing on connection, that really chips away at the fear over time.
Absolutely. So here's a little challenge, a call to action for you listening. This week, try just one of these tips.
Just one.
Maybe say hello in English when you might not normally. Or sing along to an English song out loud. Just pick one thing and notice how it feels. Any little shift in confidence.
Be curious about your own reaction.
Yeah. And we'd love to hear how it goes. Share your experiences on our website or social media if you feel like it.
Even one small step can make a difference. Start a positive cycle.
And remember, just by listening to this, by thinking about how to improve, you're already on your way. You're already working towards being more confident.
Every step counts.
Every single step, no matter how small it feels, is real progress. So thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive.
Keep at it.
Keep practicing, keep being brave, and remember, your voice truly deserves to be heard.
Thanks for listening, and if you found the video helpful, please hit the like button, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you never miss an episode, and share it with others who might benefit. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, we'd love to hear from you, so your feedback is really important to us. And if you want to continue learning right now, here in this playlist, you'll find helpful videos for English listening practice. You might want to watch it next. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.